do you understand the T-share mechanism and roughly how they work and why they're so valuable to not only send them out further but get them sooner rather than later?
Yeah.
Have you? So with T-shares, when you go to stake your coins, you're actually presenting your coins to the contract, and those coins actually get burned out of existence, so they disappear, and you get T-shares. It's just shorthand for a trillion shares right now, and you get
Okay.
those shares every year you stake out. You get a 20% bonus on top of those up to 10 years. So right now you have an additional 40% bonus on your T shares because you did 2 years on your 2 year stakes. If you continue to go out to 10 years, you could have up to a 200% bonus on those T shares. So you get bonus T shares, and then like you said, they will always go up in terms of hex, because when you go to mint your first stake, what the contract's going to do. So you're turning in your T-shares. The contract's going to look at the T-shares that you're turning in. It's going to calculate your principal. It's going to calculate your interest, and then all the emergency end stake bonus of people ending their stakes early that got distributed out
Yeah.
to the rest of the stakers. It's going to take those three things. It's going to say, okay, Mike is owed this amount of hex. All right, if we give Mike this amount of hex and he's to go and stake it for the same length, is he going to get equal amount or greater than T shares than when he first staked? And if it's yes, if you're going to have the highest ROI in the system, the contract's going to like, oh, we can't allow that, and it's going to adjust accordingly, and it's going to bump up how many hex it takes to purchase the T-share, because you, Mike, with that stake, just set the new ROI in the system, and it's going to make sure you can't get that same amount of T-shares that you did for that same length of time. So you either have to add more capital or you have to add more time to get an equal or greater amount of T-shares than what you did, even with all those bonuses, interest, everything added to it. So the hex per T-share, which I think right now is 18,000, I don't even know, 200 something. You guys can correct me if
It's
someone's got
something
it
around
pulled up.
there. Yeah.
Yep, that's always going up. Now you can potentially get hex T shares cheaper if there's, let's say, a dip in the price, right? So the USD value, it's still up and to the right, but with a big enough dip, you're gonna have it'll technically you could get more T shares for the value. So in terms of hex, it's always going up. Even the hex, the T share USD chart, still, if you look at it, it's still up to the right with occasional little dips in there. But all it is Hex has its own inflation, which is 3.69% on the total supply every year, and that's just paid to stakers. Again, there's only about 10% stakers, which is actually a majority of the system since the OA is liquid.
Yeah.
So we get those insane APYs of 40% plus if you're staked out past the average length. And all Hex is doing, it's just like for us, it's the Federal Reserve. I don't know. I assume you have some equivalent in South Africa, but just the printing press of your money. And
Yeah.
Hex just prints its own money, but instead of that going to bureaucrats and designated to certain places and inflating your currency to dog shit, not being able to buy anything anymore, that actually goes to you as the staker directly. So it's like the Federal Reserve for us giving you a money printer and say, here you go, that's your T-share. And then however long you staked it for, that's how long you get to hold on to that money printer, and just prints you more hex every day for the next 1 year, 2 years, or longer you stake out, the longer you have a physical money printer in your possession. And then so it'll come time next year, the second year you have those stakes coming out, you go and mint them back. The contract's going to ask for those money printers back, and then we're like, man, that was really good. Like I enjoy Hex at $1.50, and I really enjoy all that interest. Like let me go ahead and stake a lot of that back out, and we're like, holy crap, T shares now cost me, I don't know, 20,000 Hex, and then Hex has gone up from 17 cents to $1.50. Like you're going to get a fraction of what you were able to get to a year, 2 years down the road, as opposed to what you have bottom today. So again, that's why it's so important to get as much Hex as you can now, and then stake it out. And I'm not the one that's going to tell you, hey, it all needs to be Quattro Cinco, which is 15 years or 10 years or in between. Like set up your ladder like you're doing, but take advantage of going further out. And you can even decrease your principal if you want to, right? Since you're getting bonus T shares, you don't have to drop as much of your principal
Sure.
Hex each year. You can go down by 20% and still have the same amount of T shares and stake it out there, and you're going to collect a lot more interest over the years. You're going to have those cheaper money printers, T shares in the system longer. It's going to be much more beneficial than 1 to 2 years. And a lot of us, I think we all have this mentality if we've been in crypto before. A lot of the OGs, when we are figuring out T-shirts initially, we did the same thing as you. We were heavy 1 to 3 years in the beginning, because in crypto it just feels like nothing's
Yeah, that's like forever in
nothing's
crypto.
safe, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And how ironic, one of the most volatile, uncertain spaces, we have the longest um, locked up economic mass, and not only crypto, but in just all traditional finance. Like, it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world where the average locked length of almost 6 years, and it's billions and billions of dollars. And Richard talks about all the time, to have that average length, like, you got to go out much further than 6 years. So and it holds you honest by code. There is no middleman. There's no bank that's like, all right, we'll cut you off with this. Nope, the code runs the numbers. Hey, this is the penalty you accrue if you didn't reach this certain amount of length, and here you go. That's what's owed to you.